If you have 20,000 shillings, which business can you start? Now, 20,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I'm here to tell you that 20,000 is a lot of money when it comes to starting a business. I know this because when I was starting my business, I remember I used less than 10,000 shillings, and that was to get business cards. And yeah, I think that's the only thing I did, because later on, that's the time I registered the company with KRA, you know, the formal process. But starting, I started with less than 10,000 shillings. So if you have 20,000 shillings, which are the ideal businesses you should consider? So I have in mind 6 businesses, and as I tell you each business, I'll also explain the reason why. So number 1 is consultancy. Now, the reason why consultancy you can be able to start at a very low amount is because you are selling your skills. All you need is a business card. So if you have a business card, Paminas Wenena, HR consultant, you can go and recruit. You know how? Because all you need is to find an employer who's willing to recruit, and from your networks, because you've been a HR practitioner, I'm sure there are 2 or 3 people who know about your skills. They can give you a job, you advertise it online for free through WhatsApp, social media, people apply, they apply to your Gmail, you interview them over Zoom, you don't need an office, and then when you've interviewed, you send them to the client, and the client pays you. And you know the standard fee for recruitment is usually the equivalent of 1 month's salary. So imagine if you recruit someone who's being paid 50,000, the client is supposed to pay you 50,000, 100,000, 100,000, 500,000, 500,000. And for me, we've even been able to recruit for someone earning 1.8 million shillings, and that's what we invoice the client. So consultancy, it can really be a rewarding business, and you don't need a lot of money to start. The second business that I would recommend is the second-hand clothes business, what we normally call here Mtumba business. And the reason why I would recommend this is because we all need to wear something. You know, we need to cover our bodies. And so majority of the Kenyans you see walking around looking very sharp, smart. I mean, probably they bought their clothes through the second hands, and because they are cheap, but they also look very good. So I remember I got this idea through watching Rin. She has a very active YouTube channel, and she had profiled a lady who said she started her Mtumba business by going to the Gikomba market. I think she had 5,000 shillings. She started with clothes which were in demand, and she would go buy, come wash them, iron, and they look good, and should even put them on paper, you know, plastic paper, and they would look really executive. And the reason why she started this business is when she got her firstborn, people would always congratulate her and say the way the kid is well dressed, and they would ask, where do you buy these clothes? And so one day she said, okay, I can get for you these clothes. And when she did, she went to Gikomba, bought and sold at a premium, and now I believe she has over 30 employees working for her, simply because of looking at an opportunity and going for it. So second-hand is a business that you can't go wrong. The other business I would highly recommend is real estate, you being a real estate agent. And as we know, real estate agent, their work is to connect who? The person either looking to rent or buy a house. And nowadays, this has changed. So look at your neighborhood. So if you can go talk to landlords, and they tell you whenever there's a vacancy, and then you advertise. And because you live in that locality, you've already established trust. So if you go to your next door apartment or block, and you tell them, okay, my name is Paminas, and I'm a real estate agent, so let me know next time there's a vacancy, and I'll be able to get you someone. And immediately they tell you there's a vacancy, again you go to social media and you post all those details there. Guess what? People will come to you, and because you live in the locality, you are trustworthy, and you be able to take them to the owner, and when they move in, you get your cut, you get your commission. And when it comes to real estate, the commission ranges from a minimum of 1.5% to 5% when it comes to sales. When it comes to rental, the first month rent. So if you rent an apartment for 20,000, you get paid 20,000. If you sell an apartment for, let's say, 20 million shillings, there's a possibility of you, if you do 2.5% of 10 million shillings, that's 250,000 shillings. So again, a business that really has a lot of potential, and all you need is a business card and you knocking on a few doors and being a bit confident, and people will consider you. I'm not saying you become a multimillionaire tomorrow, no. There's a bit of hustling involved, but at least you'll have something to eat. The other business, the fourth business, is cosmetics. And this one, I asked the team around. I work with ladies and they told me, guess what? They want to smell nice every day. So whether it's you selling cosmetic themselves or the perfume refills, I believe there's a lot of potential. I mean, every woman wants to look beautiful. I believe some of them, they would rather even not have lunch, but look beautiful. So why don't you take advantage of that? And you can even start with the people you work with. So buy a few things or start smelling nice, and they'll ask you, well, how come you've changed? And you can tell them, this is my supplier and I can connect you. And yet you are the supplier and you keep those things in your bedroom. So that's a business you should consider. So the other business, the last one, is agency. Any kind of agency business, you can be able to start with a minimal capital. So what do I mean by being an agent? So if you're able to connect two people, the buyer and the seller, you can be in business tomorrow. And before we started shooting this video, I was giving an example to my colleagues where this individual, a very young person, they are a graduate engineer. So the first few years, they really had a hard time getting a job. But because they understood construction, what they started doing was they would go to Mjengo, a construction site, and they would tell them, next time you have an order for cement, I know where to get it. And guess what they did? When they were talking to the construction managers, they also went to one of the cement manufacturing plant, and they tell them, I've identified construction managers, and we've already entered into an agreement where if they have a need, they come through me. So I'm looking at, can we be able to do a business, and whatever you supply to them, you give me a cut. And the cement company said yes, because every company wants to increase sales. So what would happen is these construction managers, when they were looking to refill the cement, they call this person, and this person, they had already negotiated a very good deal pricing with the cement company. And so the cement company would deliver, then they would get paid by the construction manager, and then they would this person would get a cut, a commission, you know, by connecting the two. So as you can see, this person, they didn't even have an office. All they did have is a business card and a bit of confidence to approach the construction managers, and being able to handle rejection, because not everyone also said yes to whatever they were proposing. As you can see, being an agent can make you really successful. And the best known agent in Kenya is none other than Mr. Jimmy Wanjigi. I remember the time he was interviewed by Citizen TV, and he was asked, what kind of business do you do? And guess what he said? His work is to bring partners all over the world. Whenever there's a big infrastructure project in Kenya, he's the one who brings them. He partners with them, and when they get paid, they also pay him. And I remember he was talking about the way they had even negotiated for the SGR project. So you can imagine a project worth 450 billion shillings. Even if you only got a 1% out of it, that's 450 million shillings. Think about that, just because of being an agent. What if he was paid 10%? That would be 4.5 billion shillings. So as you can see, there's a lot of potential, you know, in terms of bringing the seller and the buyer together. So there you have it. Those are the top 5 businesses. I believe if you have the courage and the confidence to pursue, you can be able to start with the 20,000. I've also been reminded that being a YouTuber is also a potential business, and we've seen people, they start shooting through their phone, and before you know it, within 1 year, they have all these 500,000 subscribers. People are following them, and they make money either through adverts. Google pays them through adverts, you know, the YouTube adverts you see, or they get sponsors and someone pays them for 20, 30,000. And then a good example is that this lady, the dancing TikTok lady, and I hear she charges a lot of money to really do one post, the equivalent of, you know, between 50,000 to 100,000 shillings. So if you're savvy when it comes to digital matters, being a YouTuber can also make a whole lot of a difference. So those are the business I had in mind. So look at them and see what appeals to you. And I wish you the very best. And for more tips on businesses and how you can succeed, do subscribe, because every week I do have a new video. Thank you very much.